long now that she woke in the night with him standing over her, or never woke again. All she could do was keep gunning to the system, and pray the fellas who watched the sand saw her coming and cared enough to get the gate open. Pray for once she ran into another scav or hunters bringing in a load of roos and conies. He might not take her if she made the walls. Some protection, for what it was worth, spilling from the trash and noise and firelight of other souls. Then again there was rumours he were one of them, that he walked among 'em in the circles of the system without care, before fading through the iron and disappearing into the red dust that clogs your lungs and made you spit up blood and weep forever. You breathed it long enough. He was something out of dust, out of whirlies and willy-willies, and sometimes she thought she were making 'em all up. He were the boogeyman, taking kids and old alike, eating up scavs that crossed him out Painter way, or Olympic way, or any which way the tale got spun. They was stupid stories to keep the brainless shook and young'uns scared. She'd never believed him, but when she tried to focus the scope on him and couldn't, she knew what it was. Never seen nothing like it in all her years on the sand. The air'd been cold and clear the last few nights, and she'd no need of her wrap, shipless as she were. Still, she'd slept with it stuffed in her mouth in case she cried out, though she reckoned she'd beat that habit a long time. All them stories, but it didn't change there were a fella tracking her and she didn't like being hunted. Didn't sit right at all. There weren't nothing certain but one thing. The reckoner were coming. 1. Before. We're a day. We're just a day. Up at dawn and the three of 'em headed to the gully. Checked the traps, see if any lizards or conies had forgot their learnin's and got strung up. Walking. Always walking. Mum and John with damp cloth over their mouths and she got the proper mask, being the little one. Kept dust out some, but she still spat pale red. Out to the soaks and rock holes taking the plastic bottles. Check the traps, dig for roots and grubs. Set up the sun stills lest the soaks come up dry. Then she and John set to scav and scav and scav. The near hulks had been stripped long ago, and what might have once been shacks was just shapes on the ground that came and went in the storms, old things lost to dust. Every now and then, though, they found a spring or some bit of plastic that were worth something to the traders headed to the big camp. Screws were good, bolts better. They was building things that-a-way. Walls and such, the scav said. Had a powerful need for things dug up and found. They was thirsting for bits of the old, whatever them fellas could get their hands on. Copper and steel were worth plenty. Salt and grub. They picked and picked. With a ruin of an old farmhouse still standing a mile distant, but it were a bad place and stripped clean anyways. More hulks out in the dunes, plenty of treasure left to find. Rust were slow in the long dry. Them sand-scarred monsters from the old times still looked all right on the inside sometimes. Now and then they still had fellas inside, but most often they was stripped bare. Bones was good for carving. Bone handles and bone knives. Leg bones the strongest. She and him knew where the good ones was. Didn't tell Mum everything he didn't. John always made sure she brought home something, even when she didn't find it herself. Out there and fetch me back what you find. Make yourself useful. Everyone's got to have a reason, her Mum said. But she knew she were all right. Mum, thin as a whip, bones standing stark against the sun-dark skin. Only pretend hard. Lean, muscle like braided wire, and the same dark blue, opal chip eyes she got told she had herself. Mum found soaks and water for the scavs, and told them what was coming in their days ahead. Told the futures of them what came trading through on their way to the big camp, the place where they was putting a system in place. Told 'em good enough that plenty come back, asking what the next season held, where they might comb the sand and cracked salt lakes for fortune. Plenty to be made out of things from the old before. Some of them scavs had been coming their way for years, dropping little presents for their mum and her brood when the haul was good. Only pretend hard her mum was. She still stroked her hair till she slept when the night terrors and whirrs were on her. She listened in on what the scavs told her mum. Getting harder, they reckoned. Had to go ever deeper, ever darker for them things from the before. Some went out and never come back. Down the deep dark, they said. Things you didn't want to wake. Fear coming off 'em like stink as they told their tellings.